Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Grue Room. And for the Grue Room today, we got a great guest and someone that is super cool, and I'm really looking forward to talking to him. His name is Lane Rogers, and he's also known in the adult entertainment world as Blake Mitchell. And we're looking forward to this one. He seems like a super cool guy. He's a big gamer, has a Twitter account for gaming, and we're going to talk to him about gaming, adult entertainment, and everything else. And it's Halloween season, so definitely want to know what he's doing for Halloween as well. I am Rocco Cross. I am the host at Stutters, and I'm the host of the Grue Room, and my interview with Lane Rogers is coming up next. All right. Welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out of your night and coming on the show and doing this, bud.
Thanks so much for inviting me. This is super fun. This is awesome. Let's go.
Nice. So first off, I wanted to start by asking you, I see you're a huge fan of video games, and you got
My headset on.
you got the headset on for the video games, right?
Yeah. It's because I'm currently between. I have this apartment, but I have a place in LA too. But we're moving out of that apartment, and I have a whole setup there that's much nicer. And like, I don't have a thing in front of my face. I have like a regular microphone, but I'm currently in my loft in Kentucky, so it's very acoustic. So having a microphone that's close to the face is very helpful.
Oh,
So I
wow.
have to wear the whole shebang. But I don't mind it. I think it's like it's kind of a vibe, it's like an aesthetic.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. And you got a Twitch account and uh Twit Twitter too with gaming, right?
Yes, I do. I've been streaming on Twitch for a little over a year now.
Oh,
I've
wow.
slowed down a lot lately since I've been in college, but yeah, I really love live streaming. I got my start in live streaming, and then I kind of went away from it, so it's been nice to go back to it. There's a lot of parts of it that I really enjoy.
Nice, nice. And what when did you first start playing video games, and what was like the first gaming system that you had?
Ooh, I definitely first started playing video games. Um, I mean, as a young kid, I feel like I grew up with technology. We had a VCR, then we had a DVD player, and then you know
Yep.
what I mean. Like, really grew up like through those eras of technology as I was growing up. Um, so that was really interesting. And I'd say the first one was a Nintendo 64 that we
Oh, I
had.
used to love those. Yes.
Yeah, we had a Nintendo 64 that I think had belonged to my elder siblings, and they had passed down. And then after that we probably had like a GameCube was probably next because that's
Okay.
what came out next. And then like we've kind of switched back and forth between like, and it was always my brother who was leading the way on that. But we had like a PlayStation 2. We never had a PlayStation 1, but we had a PlayStation 2, we had Xbox 360, then a
Nice.
PlayStation 3 or 4, then the next Xbox. Then so we've kind of gone both ways. But also Game Boy, definitely like had a Game Boy pretty early. Um, that was really always had one of those in my pocket. Would get
Oh,
in trouble
those
in
so
school
much
playing it.
fun.
Yeah, it's just easy to play. I still have one now, actually. I
Nice.
have a custom one now that's like custom see-through purple plastic,
Really?
and I still play my favorite Pokemon games on there. Yeah, it's
Oh,
my way to play
wow.
Pokemon. I know there's new ways to play Pokemon. I like that too, but I like the good old Game Boy.
Nice. Do you remember Game Gear too? It was like a version of Game Boy, but it was colored. Well, I mean, it was like total opposite of Game Boy. Sega, I think, was the one that made that.
Really? No, I have not. I'm not familiar with that. Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. I always wondered why there was no competition for the Game Boy.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was a Game Gear, and it was a little handheld thing, just like Game Boy, but everything was in color, and it was owned by Sega.
Oh, that's really cool. No, I remember also the Sony PSP, which was like
Yes.
had a very HD screen. You could watch videos on it and stuff. The Sony PSP. I remember having one of those. And I remember that feeling so futuristic at the time.
Mhm.
Like that felt way like light years technologically beyond the Game Boy. Um, but to tell you the truth, it was much more like a tablet than it was a real game console. So as
I
a
know.
result, it had that limitation. Like I didn't actually love gaming on there. I loved just being on the internet on that, you know?
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And, and do you play like the Kim 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 computer games too? Like, besides like the
Yes,
gaming
yes.
systems, like just the
I grew up playing a lot of PC games. I got a gaming PC before my brother did. He always loved console. So I got a PC in order to play this one game called World in Conflict,
oh.
um, which is a real-time strategy game where the Russians invade America and you play as like, you're commanding troops and like you have units and you can order tanks or like foot soldiers or whatever, right? And you duke it out and repel the invaders. So that was like actually the first computer game I ever really played that I was like, I remember being in Best Buy. We used to go to Best Buy and these new games would come out and I saw the poster for it. And I was like a little kid, so like the poster's taller than me. And I
Yeah.
was just like, it was the Statue of Liberty, but it was like kind of cast in this red light and she was like
Okay.
half destroyed from like the invasion or whatever. It was very, and I was just like, what is that? And I saw what it was. And I previously to that at a friend's house played like StarCraft, which
Oh
is also a
yeah, of
real-time
course.
strategy, right? So I played it. I grew up playing StarCraft. We used to have LAN parties.
Nice.
I would bring my computer to my friend's house, my whole desktop, like everything,
Oh my
to
God, you
my
would
friend's
bring all
house.
that?
All that for the because we would stay the whole weekend. I would have a whole
Oh,
weekend,
okay.
and we would barely sleep, eat hot pockets and pizza rolls, and drink way too much soda, and fart in a room and play video games. And
It,
just like be it was just it felt very when I think back on it, like it really felt very pure and like it didn't feel like I don't know, it felt like growing up like a regular kid and like I played a few sports, not really, but
oh, yeah, right.
I knew, but it was nice because like we were kind of, even though we were like, the nerdy kid clique, we were still had like a clique to belong to, and that was cool to have like sort of a social group growing up like that. So I miss that, to tell you the truth. Everybody does, online now, so nobody
Well,
does like
yeah,
LAN parties,
yeah.
but I would love to get like a StarCraft LAN party going on.
You should definitely create that. Like, I mean, it looks like you got a lot of room in that loft,
It
and
sounds like a fun time. I
yeah.
know we do. We got some room in here. I tell you what. Um,
Hey,
So I would love to. I'd love to, maybe get my brother and stuff involved. So that would be really cool. I always grew up playing video games with him,
nice.
and he's always known more about it. So I always like refer to him when it comes to it. So I really always have really loved it. Yeah.
It's really funny when you said, "Oh, you get you hung out with your friends and ate hot pockets and pizza rolls and drank soda," like because that's what I did too. Like when I
Right.
when I would game with friends, the food was always hot pockets and pizza rolls.
It's because we could make it. It's because we could make it, and that's what it was. No, it was 100% that, and it was so interesting because it was also at a time in childhood where like we were kind of old enough and smart enough to be like doing critical thinking, but also like puberty hadn't set in enough to like care about, boys or girls or anything like that. It was
Yeah,
just like we just cared about like who's gonna win this next match at StarCraft,
yeah,
like who, you know what I mean?
exactly.
And that's what made it feel so like so just pure in a way of like it was really cool to like also probably the fact that like we didn't have any worry about like I don't know, grades didn't feel like a big thing then. It wasn't like we were in high school and grades would start to really
Hmm.
matter or like even
Hmm.
in like later middle school. So it was cool. And I miss those kind of times where it's like all you cared about was like, hey, have you put another hot pocket in?
Yeah,
Can you grab me a
exactly.
Pepsi? Are you ready to play the next match? Does anybody need to go to the bathroom? Like that's all you cared about. Like it
I
was
know.
cool.
I
So
know.
I miss those kind of interactions sometimes. And I think that's why I wanted to start streaming again and playing video games again, was to have those kind of, just casual interactions like that.
Sweet. And what about horror games? You ever played any
Uh,
horror video games?
I try and play the horror games. I don't watch horror movies. I really don't like being scared deliberately.
Okay.
So when I play, I've I've played some horror games, and I usually do for Halloween. I will kind of once a year pull out the horror games, but I I scream. I really, and I like have to take a break. I like throw down the headphones. I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. I'm out. I can't do it. I get so worked up. I can't help
Uh,
but get so worked up. So I don't like that feeling of like deliberate stress.
and, and when you're on Twitch and stuff and streaming, like what are some games like you love playing? Like you could just sit
Yeah.
there and play for hours.
Nowadays, I still play World in Conflict. I found a way to make it work on a modern computer, which is cool. It took some drivers and some help from my friend. But lately I've been playing a lot of like Assassin's Creed
Oh, I
Odyssey
love
or
that.
like the other Assassin's Creed games or any of these like really large scale adventures, because I think the audience gets to get involved with the character's story if they want to,
Hmm.
and especially because there's some decision making to be done in those games where it's like, are you going to be nice to this character? Are you going to be mean to this character? And you kind of let the audience get involved with that decision making. So they're really part of that storytelling, and I really enjoy that aspect, that interaction with people. So I love to play those kind of games. But sometimes I used to play. Sometimes I'll play some shooters, but
Oh yeah.
like Call of Duty or something, or Battlefield.
Hmm.
But I don't, I don't know. I'm not very good, so I don't think it's as enjoyable to watch me play those as the other games.
Okay.
So I just play those on my free time usually. But on stream, it's a lot of big adventure games. I love big adventure
Nice.
games.
Nice. And what about like, are you like a fan of comic books and anime and stuff like
I
that?
used
Or
to have a little bit of a comic book collection in high school. I've been wanting to get into it again recently because it really takes like, if you like superhero stuff, if you like Batman or Marvel or
hmm.
anything, like a lot of people nowadays, there's different ways of doing this. But to me, the way to make the story go further than the movie allows or the
Yeah.
TV show allows is the comic books, because there's a lot of different storylines, time eras, versions where the character is like darker or lighter, or you know what I mean? Like different shades of moral standing. And I think it's really interesting. So I think a lot of people want to get deeper with these characters and they don't engage in the comics enough. So I feel like
Yeah,
we
exactly.
gotta we gotta promote comics more, you know.
Oh, definitely. Just like that. I don't know if you ever watched that television show, Buffy, Buffy
Buffy the
the
Vampire Slayer,
Vampire
I
Slayer.
love that show, man.
Okay, and it continued on. Like a lot of people don't realize, like they think once the series was over, that was the end of Buffy, but it continued on in comics.
Oh, I did not know that. I want to go read
Oh,
those
really?
now.
You
Hold
didn't know
up. Wait a
that?
minute. I gotta buy those. I mean, this makes me want to pull up my browser on my other screen here and just be like buying some comic books on the side here. I gotta remember that. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
God.
Yeah, like once the show was over and Buffy had all those other vampire slayers around her, and it continued on in comic books, and they would always come out with new comic books of like Buffy with Willow and stuff, and
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. I love that. That's great. I did not know that. I gotta check that out. I always really loved Batman Beyond. I thought was
yeah,
really cool, that TV
yeah.
show. So I think there's some comics with that. So I want to read those comics because that sounds really fun. I always really loved Superman. I grew up a Superman fan. I still
Oh,
am. So,
nice.
the newest Superman, which is like Superman's son, just
Yeah.
came out as bisexual. So that character is like, I feel I identify with that character, which is
Oh,
really
wow.
cool. And it's super cute. So, um, But yeah, I love comics. I think I want to get more involved with comics, you know. Plus they're short usually and easy to read, so it's
Well,
like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly. But those Buffy ones, they're like the thick comic books. What do they call them? Graphic novels.
graphic novels.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
love
that
those too.
yeah, that's what those. I'm pretty sure the Buffy ones are graphic novels.
I love that. Yeah, I'd like to check this out. I used to read this did you ever read Artemis Fowl?
No, no, what is that?
No, you gotta check out Artemis Fowl. It's real crazy. They've made a couple failed movies out of it.
Okay.
But to tell you the truth, there were books originally, but they made the book into graphic novels.
Oh,
And they are so good because it brings the world to life. And like, I don't, you know, like you read a book and you like imagine how it looks and you imagine how it would be. And like, you know, it was cool for me because in the graphic novel, it really lined up with how I had imagined it. So
oh wow.
I really liked that.
Awesome, awesome. And a couple didn't you write a book like a couple years ago or
A book was written about me.
oh, a
I
book
did
was
not
written
write the
about
book. I
I thought you were the
informed,
one that wrote it.
yeah, no, I did not write it. A writer wrote it. I worked with that writer and I told her that story and then she wrote it down on actual paper. And she
Oh,
did an excellent job. Her name is Taylor Saracen. The book's called His Own Way Out. And it's a really interesting story. I'd like to rewrite that story actually. Um, but it is very cool, and I definitely told a lot more about myself and my background than I ever had before.
okay. Well, if anyone wants to learn about you, about your background and where you grew up at and stuff, they definitely should go and read the book, buy the book,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You can get it on Amazon. Um, yeah, and it is. It's not very long either, so it won't take. It's not gonna take people a whole month or anything, hopefully. Uh, at any rate, it's an interesting story. I think I had a lot of adventures in my youth, so it
Okay.
was fun to get to regale those.
Oh, nice. Well, you know, I think I think I might have to read the book now.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Tell me what you think. You could let me know.
Yeah, definitely. And I see you're in school now, right? College. And
Yes, I am.
what are you taking up in college?
I'm planning on getting a bachelor's in business administration, a BBA, and then after that, pursuing an MBA. Um, but I'm in my very first semester, so I'm taking it just one class at a time, and um, a lot of all my classes this year are my core classes. So I'm taking like a history class,
Oh, wow.
and I need to take a math class, and I didn't go there's all these like core classes that you have to fulfill. So I'm trying to fulfill a lot of those requirements in this first 2 semesters, and then starting next year, be able to really um, um, get into the deeper stuff of it, which would
Oh,
be really
sweet.
exciting. Excuse me, exciting.
Okay. And like what about are you part of any groups in there or like frats or anything
Oh yeah,
like that?
definitely not joining any fraternities. I am pretty anti-fraternity actually. I think they're bad organizations and I don't think we should have them anymore. But and I think they're historically proven that they're not good organizations mostly. But I understand there are a few good ones, so I just don't get involved with them. No, I'm definitely not involved with any fraternities. And I haven't had a lot of time being an older student to get
Yeah.
involved as I would like to. It would be nice to get more involved. It would be nice to do more, um, and maybe join a club or even create a club or like heck, maybe I'll run for student body president or something
Yeah, you
like
definitely
that.
should.
Yeah, maybe next year or something like that or the year after that. But it's been a very fun process, and I am definitely excited um, to be continuing on in it, you know. And so far my grades are really good, probably the best grades I've ever had in my entire life, so that's good.
Oh,
And I'm excited for that. So
awesome, man. Awesome. And you you definitely know how to keep in shape. Like you definitely have a really good build. And so like what's your workout and diet like?
Oh yeah. Well, it's been slipping a little since school started because I've had less time on my hands. And if I don't get up at like 6 in the morning, then I kind of don't have time to work out
Oh
until
wow.
much, much later in the evening. And for me, if I work out much later in the evening after having had a full day, I'm exhausted. I'm just like, I don't want to go, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I
exactly.
kind of
I
need to
know that
start my
feeling.
day with it. Um, so it's been more difficult since school started, but really just a couple simple rules that I follow.
Hmm.
Um, and that's that, I'm not looking to move any specific weight. I just want to do well, and I don't want
Yeah.
to hurt my body. And as far as diet goes, there's just a few things that I kind of avoid. I don't really eat potatoes very often.
Oh, okay.
Um, they take a long time to digest. They're very high on the glycemic index. So I try to avoid anything that's kind of higher on the glycemic index that takes a long time to digest. Um, and I try and definitely eat a high protein diet, as well as I really avoid sugar. I try and avoid
Oh
sugar,
yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
the
smart.
sugar is a big one.
Yeah.
Other than that, I try not to police what I eat too much because I don't think that's actually good for it. You know what I mean? So it's a tightrope. It's a tightrope, between like I want to look a certain way, but also I want to, my mental health to be a certain way too. So it's
Hmm.
a balancing act between them, and they definitely go together.
Okay. And you said something about like you used to play sports. Like what kind of sports did you play?
Um, well, I grew up, I played like soccer a lot. We all
Oh,
played soccer.
nice.
Um, I didn't get to play football until my freshman year of high school, and it's the only year I played. But after and all through middle school and the first year of high school, freshman year, I was on the swim team. And then my sophomore and junior year of high school, I was a wrestler, and I really
Oh,
enjoyed
sweet.
that. I really enjoyed that. And then later in high school, I started playing golf. And I just started playing golf again earlier this year. And I've really been enjoying that as a pastime. That's, it's not hard on my body. It takes up a good amount of time. Like a full round of golf takes 4 hours. So,
Is
you
that
know,
long?
18 holes is 4 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
You can get it done
Okay.
in 3.5 if you play with speedy people. I play with speedy people. So unless we get caught behind some slow people, we're pretty quick. So we get out there in 3.5 or so. Um, but yeah, it definitely, I really enjoy that, and it's not hard on my body or anything. It's fun to sort of, and I'm not great at it, so I don't have to care about it too much. I can just go out there and hit the ball, and it lands where it lands. If I can find it, I hit it again. That's kind of how I play.
There you go. Hey, that's good.
Thank you.
And when you were wrestling, were you ever a fan of like the WWE and stuff like that, or
Oh
no?
no, see, I did like Olympic style kind of
Well,
wrestling.
no, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
exactly.
No, I never liked the WWE. I tell you the truth, not to put it down anybody who did like it, but I just didn't. I was like, my thing was like, you guys know it's fake, right? And they're like really into it, but they know it's not real. And I thought that was so interesting, this sort of like simulated combat idea. And it really was about like the storylines between the
Well, yeah,
characters,
yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
so once I realized that, I understood it quite a bit more. And um, but I do remember growing up, and Stone Cold Steve Austin
Yeah,
he was like the guy you wanted to
I know.
be. And we would like make jokes, and it was just because he was like, it was almost the beginning of meme culture where like he just had those things he was known for, these catchphrase kind of things that was
Hmm.
like, it was just funny to bring into the other contexts of life. So it was like, just like, I don't know, Stone Cold Steve Austin was such a funny phenomenon where like there was a time where some people were really into wrestling, like
Oh,
even
yeah.
me, but I didn't care about none of the rest of the stuff. I just thought Stone Cold Steve Austin was cool, or The Rock was cool,
Well,
or
yeah, The Rock, of course, yeah.
and The Rock, so that was really interesting.
And like, what do you when you have free time, which isn't that much, what do you like to do during your
Yeah,
free
during my
time?
free time nowadays, especially as I have less and less, like if I if I have a solid chunk of time, I'll go to the golf range, so I don't have to like play 4 hours. I can just hit for an hour.
Yeah.
And I do that a couple times a week if I can, at least 2 times a week. I try to do that. I try and find time to play video games. I try, I fail, and I try and fail to find time to do a lot of things that I enjoy lately. I just feel like school has taken up so much of my time. But
Oh
before
yeah.
I did a good bit of reading. I was usually pretty up on what was on television. I don't remember the last time I watched. Actually, I do. I remember the last time I tried to watch a movie and I fell asleep. I just fell asleep partway through. So it's like can't even do that anymore. So that was really interesting. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my thing.
Okay, all right. And what about like music and songs? Like what's on your your playlist? Like what kind of music do you like?
There's very few music I don't like. There's only kind of like the only thing I don't really love is like metal. And
Okay.
I even have some metal songs that I do like, but overarchingly, I don't like metal because I don't like being yelled at like that. You know what I mean? I'm not into that. So, but I like, but I have some metal songs I still enjoy. So I guess I make an exception there too. Um, I guess I would say, hmm. Yeah, I guess I kind of like I don't I'm not a big fan of any particular artist. Like I'm not like a Nicki Minaj stan
Yeah, yeah.
or an Arianator or any of those, anything like that. I like what's on. If I like it, I keep listening to it, and I don't really keep up with like, oh, their new album came out and it's good or it's bad. I just kind of I rely on social media to tell me whether it's good or it's bad, and I find I'm much happier that way.
And I don't know if you drink or not, but when you do drink, like what's your drink of choice?
Well, I have a drink right here, and
Okay.
I'm from Kentucky, and I like to drink recently bourbon a lot, actually. So I'm drinking a little Town Branch, which is a bourbon from right here in Lexington. It's actually pretty close to my house, the distillery. So,
Nice, nice.
what about you?
Me, I'm a Jack guy. I love Jack and Coke.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I love that. Well, we'll have to get a drink sometime together. That'll be fantastic.
Definitely, yes, definitely. And like you say you live in Kentucky, right?
Yes, I do.
Was was that where you grew
It
grew up at
is.
too? Or oh,
It
okay, okay.
is. I grew up here. I went to school here. Um, Eventually, I moved away. I've lived in Washington State. I've lived in California and a couple different places, mostly Los Angeles. Um, so I've gone in a couple different directions. I'll probably next live like I think for grad school I want to maybe go to New York. So
Oh,
maybe in
nice.
4 or 5 years I'll be in New York City or something like that. So it kind of just depends on what happens in my life. And
Yeah.
but I did grow up here and I love being here. It really is different than I think people's perception of it is, and I think changing people's perceptions of Kentucky is like kind of really important. So I'm excited for that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, New York is really nice. I actually live in Phil,
Oh, I love
Philadelphia,
Philadelphia actually.
and Philly isn't that far from New York, so I always like, you know, I go there quite often and stuff, and it's definitely a fun area. It's definitely a
It
fun area.
is. It is. And I liked Philadelphia a lot when I went there too. I thought the historical buildings were very cool. I had a friend who went to college there
Oh,
and I went and
nice.
visited him one time. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. Um, but I really do love New York. I've been falling more and more in love with New York over the years.
Okay, okay.
And I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with New York. I feel like it hurts me, but I keep going back.
Well, the bars there tend to close late, so
They
you
do
could.
close late, yeah. I don't like. I'm not a big drinker, really. I'm sipping on something tonight, but I'm not a big drinker, really. I have been more so since college, but I don't know if that's connected. Um, so I don't usually like. Usually, it's like it's usually for me like 12 or 1 a.m. and I'm like, ready to go to sleep. Like I'm like, let's go home. Like,
And so you're uh, I always like because I actually interviewed Johnny Rapid not too long ago. So I always ask like if they're cool with talking about adult entertainment. So are you cool talking
I
about
am
that?
cool talking about
Okay.
adult entertainment. Appreciate it. Thank you for
Okay.
asking.
And so like the first thing I wanted to ask you about that is like how did you come up with your stage name?
Oh, this question. I should have this on an FAQ on my website because it is one of the most common questions. I think I came up with the stage name because I thought Blake was a hot guy name, and I thought Mitchell was a hot guy name, but that sounded more like a last name.
Okay.
And so I just kind of put the two together, and I was like, that's a hot guy name, Blake Mitchell. And I wanted to be a hot guy, so I was like, let me give myself a hot guy name. Then that's kind of, and I was just like, and people were like, yeah, I like that. Like it just sounded, people liked how it sounded, and I was like, rock it, let's go.
Oh man, that's awesome. Nice.
Thank you.
And how did you wind up getting involved with it?
Yeah, so gosh, I'm gonna try and make this story quick because it's kind of a long one. But
Okay.
suffice to say, I was working at a diner in Lexington, and I was working third shift, and I met this guy on Grinder, and I went and hung out with him, and he was friends with these cam girls, um, which is like webcamming on like
Hmm.
ChatterBait or something like that.
Hmm.
So they taught me about it, and I was like, I was saying you know, to to that guy at the time, I was like, hey, we could do this. Like me and you could do this. And he was like, okay. So we started doing it. And then a studio discovered me. And so like February of 2014, I did my first webcam show. And then November of 2014, I did my first professional scene. So,
Oh
and then
wow.
it's kind of history from there.
Wow, yeah. And how did when was like the first time you like said, oh, I want to try hooking up with a guy to see how it feels and all that stuff?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. When exactly that happened for me. I think maybe I always knew, and um, it just as it came, as it happened.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And it how did like when you told like friends, family, like how did they wind up taking that you're you're into both, like you're bi?
Yeah. You know, um, it was interesting. To tell you the truth, my family was really supportive. People in my hometown, it was a little weirder because it wasn't like it is even today. It's
Yeah.
not perfect today, obviously, but it wasn't like it was today exactly, especially not in small town Kentucky where I grew up. So um, I definitely realized pretty quickly that it kind of closed me off from certain social groups that I had
Oh
wanted to be
wow.
part of. And I could feel that pretty immediately after coming out, whereas it was just like, oh, okay, like that person is just going to interact with me differently now.
Oh.
And that was one of the first things I noticed. And that was, and I think I had even seen that happen before. So I think, my original plan was not to come out until college or something like that.
Mhm.
But I actually ended up being outed by the first gay person I ever met, which was,
Oh my
not
god.
it was a rough start, but not the end of the world. And it obviously didn't change how I view myself or view
Yeah.
other people. Um, Obviously, just an individual's actions. But he was upset that I would not date him. I just wanted to like learn about being LGBT.
Well, yeah,
And
exactly.
he was out and he was in our hometown, so it was like, what's this experience like for you? So I had like told him this in confidence or whatever, and then like he was like into me, but I was just like, I don't want to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Mhm.
want to do that. And so he got mad and told everybody.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Oh
It
my
was not
God.
great, but it's again, it also like it kind of made me realize pretty quickly that like I was gonna have to deal with the fact that people were going to treat me differently, regardless of when was gonna have to deal with that. So that
Hmm.
said, I don't think I was necessarily like ready to, and
Well,
I just
yeah,
kind
of
of I
course. I
did
know.
because I had to,
Yeah.
but it was an experience. So, um, uh, I don't really regret it because I can't imagine any other way my life being because that's just how my life was, how my life
Well,
went.
yeah.
So
Wow. Oh my God, that is so crazy that happened to you.
it
Eh,
was.
Wow. And how did you wind up meeting, like, you're still dating the guy you've been
Yes,
dating,
I
right?
am. Yeah, we've been
Yeah,
together over
okay.
3 years.
I didn't
It's great.
I don't want to ask in case it didn't. So how did you wind up meeting him?
Oh, I actually met him on Instagram.
Really?
Yep, I met him on Instagram, and I happened to be in Arizona for the book tour when the book came out, actually, and I finally got to meet him because I'd followed him for a while,
Hmm.
and then when we met, we just hit it off, and we just had a connection, and we've really kind of been together ever since.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's been really nice.
Do you live with him, or you two live
Yes,
separate, or?
yes. We are between our two places right now, and like the lease ends in November 1st at the place in California. So I've been in school, so I've been very busy. So he has been wonderful and amazing, and been handling the move. So he's handling all the packing and everything like
Yeah.
that, and bringing our stuff here. And then yes, we will be. Um, which is funny because like our relationship started long distance anyway.
Oh, wow.
Um, right, and so like we had to kind of temporarily go back to it for a little while. And a lot of people were like, "Are you guys gonna be able to handle that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, we started that way, so we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And now we know each other even better, so it's like it's easier.
Awesome. Awesome. And out of all your scenes that you've done under, Blake, what which scene do you like doing the most? Like, which one did you have like the
Um,
most fun with?
you know, this question's always so difficult because it's like if I say one person, I'm kind of putting down all the rest, and there's so many of them. Really, I had so much fun filming most of my scenes, like the
Hmm.
majority of my scenes, and I had a really great time with a lot of those people. So by and large, it's really hard to create a comparison point because it requires like this like um I don't like to compare people to those experiences. They
Well,
were all
yeah.
kind of individual. So um I don't know. I don't like to choose because it's like
That's all right.
um I really loved almost all of them for individual reasons. So they're all kind of great. They're all great. What can I say?
Okay. And is there any like is there any guy you haven't worked with yet that you would love to work with and do scenes with?
Um, well, I haven't really done a pro scene in a little over a year now, closer to
Hmm.
2 years now. So, I don't know. I don't think so because I think I did it for 5, 6 years. I
Yeah,
feel like I did it really successfully. So I don't think I'm super. There's much more left for me to do. I mean, there's more models now or
that's
whatever,
true.
but by and large, I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. So
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't thought about that question in a long time. I used to always have an answer ready, but I don't have. I didn't. I don't know.
Nice. And like, are you getting? I know you say you don't like horror movies or nothing like that, but it is Halloween
Yep.
season. So,
Hmm.
are you and your man gonna dress up for Halloween? Are you
Oh,
doing?
yeah. Well, we'll be doing the move, so unfortunately, like, won't even
Oh,
have really the option to because we'll be so busy. But I would love to do something. I think he wants to do something 80s themed, so definitely keep an eye out for it because if we do end up doing something, it'll be really, really cute, no doubt.
oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Nice, nice. Well, I really hope you do get to go to a Halloween party and dress up and all that
me
stuff.
too.
I mean, it is Halloween season. It's a
It
fun
is.
fun season.
It's fun. I like the decorating. I love the like fake skeletons in people's yards and stuff, you
Oh yeah, of
know.
course.
I love
Uh,
that. The
yeah,
pumpkins.
it's so much fun, and then all the stuff comes out, the coffee and the beer and
Mm-hmm.
everything is pumpkin, and
Yeah,
everywhere you
everything is
go.
pumpkin for like 2 months.
Yes.
They already got the Christmas stuff up. This is crazy.
And you have your own solo page for OnlyFans,
I
and
do.
you also have a page with the guy you're dating, Chad.
Hmm. I do.
Okay. And like how can fans like that want to follow you, like how where can they go at to follow both of those
Um,
pages?
yeah, OnlyFans.com/dances with Leos. It's our joint page, and we have tons of videos dating back 3 years of content where we've done lots of creative places and positions and fun stuff, including sometimes playing with others. Whenever we play with others together. Then my individual is OnlyFans.com/Mr. Blake Mitchell. And I do a lot of my kind of collabs with the people there.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where I do scenes now, but they're not, they're different than like a pro scene,
Well,
obviously.
yeah,
But that's kind of like what I do now, and I really enjoy that better. I get to work for myself. I get to work with whoever I want to work with, and take it as it comes versus kind of being attached to any entity or studio or something.
that's true. Because you were part of what's that studio called? Helix, right?
I
Wasn't that the
was.
one that you were
I
working for?
was
Yeah.
for many, many years. That's
Hmm.
where I built a lot of my fame, no doubt.
And like for your, I mean, I don't have it OnlyFans or nothing, but like what can fans expect from that? Like, is it more you doing solo work, or do you do stuff with
No,
others?
yeah, it's mostly collabs with other people. So like I said, that's kind of where I do scenes now. Um,
Mhm.
and then Chad and I have regular scenes with each other that come out as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Um, and yeah, it's gone really well. So like the last 3 years, basically, I've been solo from
Oh,
that. So
nice,
and I really
nice,
enjoy that.
nice. And I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I know we've been talking a while, so is there anything like you got coming up that you want to push or plug or?
Yeah, I would love to announce I have a charity stream with in collaboration with survivors.org coming up on October the 27th. It'll be on Twitch. All the proceeds from that stream will be going to charity. So I'd love for people to come and support that cause. It's on twitch.tv/Lane V Rogers. Um, and really excited to do that. So that'll be October 27th, probably about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and really excited to do that and support a great cause.
Awesome, awesome. And I know you traveled a whole bunch between all the work you've done with the adult entertainment world, and then plus your book signings and all that stuff. So, is there like a special place you love visiting?
You know what I really miss? My friend just went there. He just got back from there. I really miss Washington State because I used
Oh,
to live
really?
there and I haven't
Okay.
been there in a long time. It's really beautiful there. I think I'd like to figure out a way to go there in November or December or something. Um, excuse me. Excuse me. So yeah, I'd really love to go back to Washington State and like Tacoma, Washington, where I used to live. I really love that. So I'd really love to go back there.
Awesome. Nice, nice. And where can fans find you at? Like, what's your
Yeah, all my
socials?
usernames are pretty much Lane V as in Victory, Rogers, Lane V Rogers, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those places. I could pretty much be found under that name. So that's very cool. And if people wanted to follow me there, I'd really always love and appreciate that, and hope people enjoy the content that I produce.
Awesome. Yes. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank thank you again for taking time out of your night and coming on the show. And
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
yeah, definitely, buddy. Like you're really cool. You're really cool. You're very chill, down to earth.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I hope so. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to do this tonight. I'm gonna head my butt to the library. I gotta go study. I got a couple assignments I gotta get done before
Oh
tomorrow.
no.
So,
Oh, that sucks.
oh, such is life. Part of the learning process. It's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Well, again, thanks so much for doing this. It was a lot of fun. Thank you,
Of
buddy.
course. Thank you so much, and I hope we get to chat with you again soon.
Definitely, man, definitely. And if you're ever in New York or Philly, we'll go and have Jack or bourbon or whatever you want to drink.
That sounds like a fucking great time. Thank you so much.
All right, buddy.
Good night.
Have a good one.